Two syndromes are rampant among our liberal friends. Of course, it's Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, and now, and really always, our liberals have also got PMS. Now, before you at me, bro, and get into the comments and make me look like a gaslighter, no, it's not the same PMS you're thinking of. Canadian liberals have Pierre Monomaniac Syndrome. Now, let's talk about a medical mystery like this that is sweeping the eastern part of Canada and, of course, parts of BC. No, it's not COVID again. No, it's not another ethics investigation on the part of your Liberal Party. It's PMS, Pierre Monomaniac Syndrome, and it affects almost every Liberal. It's a condition where otherwise rational Liberals become totally, hopelessly obsessed with one man and start repeating things about him that simply are not true. It's like the party brain has been rewired to see Pierre Poilievre behind every tree, hiding behind every rock, in your bushes, every headline, under every bed. But the reality versus what they've painted is so different. And the proof it's a syndrome, well, no matter how many facts you give liberals, they keep saying the same things about Pierre. Oh, it's funny. That's what Trump derangement syndrome was too, and is currently, because people still believe all the crap said about Donald Trump. So today we're going to diagnose all of this properly. We're going to walk through 10 classic Pierre monomaniac symptoms and 10 things liberals keep saying about Poilievre. And then we're going to destroy each and every single one of them with receipts. So grab your coffee, grab your tea on Bakes on Things First Sip this morning. Come with me on an adventure. This one's for the screenshot crowd. Let's go.
Welcome to Bakes on Things.
Welcome back to Bakes on Things. It is the first sip. It is your Thursday. We are getting close to wrapping up this week. And first, let's talk about what is Pierre Monomaniac Syndrome. Well, it's when your politics stop being about ideas. It's when things stop talking and things stop happening in conversation, like taxes, housing, trade, national security, and they start being about one person. You stop defending your own record and start inventing things about the guy who's likely very close to starting to beat you in every poll outside the CBC green room. It's what happens to a long in power party right before it loses power. They can't sell themselves anymore after all the destruction over a decade, so instead they have to demonize whoever might be coming next. That's exactly where the Liberals find themselves right now, just past this horrific budget. And, well, in 2025, under Mark Carney, it's even worse, because Carney doesn't have Trudeau's old sunny ways brand to hide behind. He has a banker brand, which is just spreadsheets and lectures and clearly things that can't get done. So the easiest move is to shout, "Hey, everyone, Pierre is dangerous," over and over, even when it doesn't line up with actual reality. So on Bakes on Things this morning, the first sip, we're going to share all the symptoms. Share this with your liberal friends. They may have PMS. Symptom number one, Pierre will ban abortion. Okay, so this is PMS's most emotional flare-up. We saw it through the election campaign. We saw it before the election campaign. Liberals repeat it like it's some kind of divine revelation. But Pierre Poilievre has been on camera in 2025 just denying all of that, saying he will not ever pass laws or other restrictions on a woman's right to choose. Period. In fact, he wants government to get out of the way. That's not a 2010 quote. That's not some leadership debate from years ago. That's literally current. That's this year. Could you dislike Pierre Poilievre anyway? Sure, it's well within your right to dislike him. But you don't get to ignore the statement he actually made because it doesn't fuel the fundraising email you got from the Liberal Party. And when even activist groups who don't like him quote that promise and have to argue around it like he doesn't mean it, that just tells you the Liberal talking point is weaker than they would want you to think. So the diagnosis here is, if somebody's thinking that this is one of the things Pierre is championing, well, PMS makes you pretend a public, recent, unambiguous promise doesn't exist. So if you're feeling that way, you've got PMS. Symptom number two. Let's get into it. So Symptom number two, Pierre hates the LGBTQ community. All right. So then why is his own deputy leader, Melissa Landsman, the person who takes pretty much half of his media load, who sits beside him regularly, who represents him proudly, who's an openly gay Jewish conservative woman from the GTA? Well, wait a minute. That is not a party signaling exclusion, is it? Deputy leader? Well, that is a party putting an openly lesbian MP out there for the talents she has and shows on a daily basis. She's fantastic at what she does, and Pierre knows it. And he does not care about her sexual orientation one bit. And the whole "he votes against our rights" line falls apart when you remember he voted to ban conversion therapy in 2021. On the record, roll call, yes, vote. He voted. You don't do that if you are running a secret anti-LGBTQ crusade. Diagnosis? Well, if you're feeling that that's how he feels, PMS makes you ignore the identity and votes of the people standing right beside Pierre. So if you're feeling this way, you have PMS. Symptom number three, Pierre is anti-immigration. Now, this one comes up on a fairly regular basis, even though most liberals would technically agree that immigration is far too high in this country. So this one is borderline hilarious because his wife, Anita Polyev, is literally an immigrant from Venezuela who came here as a kid and now speaks English, French, and Spanish on stage for Pierre and is called his secret weapon, was so in the election. That is not an anti-immigration household, my friends. That is what successful Canadian immigration looks like. Pierre believes in successful Canadian immigration, yes. But what Pierre actually says, and what Carney hates because it exposes liberal failure, is that immigration levels have to be tied to the ability to house them, to hold them to health care and infrastructure as well, so that we don't set newcomers up to fail or other Canadians who are already here. That's the exact same problem Trudeau and then Carney himself finally have admitted when they started pulling their targets down in 2025. So Pierre was actually right. Now, the diagnosis here is PMS makes you hear fix immigration and think hate. Makes no sense at all, but whatever. That's what liberals are translating it to. And if that's what you're translating it to, you have PMS. Symptom 4. Pierre has no plan. He just yells, axe the tax. This one was funny because the plans were pretty much completely laid out during the election campaign, and then the liberals stole it. The conservative website is full of actual legislation proposals, building homes, not bureaucracy, targets for cities, fines for gatekeepers, 2.3 million homes in 5 years, GST relief on all new homes, tying transit dollars to housing completion. Do I need to keep going? Or, I mean, that is more concrete than 9 years of liberal press conferences combined. On top of that, he has a fully articulated carbon tax repeal, not just a pause, and affordability package. So he actually is going to axe the tax, plus spending controls, plus $1 in savings for every new dollar that is spent, which again is a more specific fiscal rule than anything Carney has said since becoming prime minister. So the diagnosis here is, if you believe Polyev has no plan or policies, well, PMS makes you mistake a slogan you don't like for the totality of the policy, and therefore, if you feel this way, you might have PMS. Now, symptom 5, Pierre just votes against everything. Well, that's another one that's not true. No, he votes against liberal everything because he supported the conversion therapy ban. No, he votes against liberal everything. He supported the conversion therapy ban. He's tabled his own housing bill. He's backed countless accountability measures in committees and in House. And what he opposes is liberal habit spending disguised as virtue. That's his job as the leader of the opposition. If the liberals were in the same boat, they would also vote down or try to vote down most Canadian things. So this argument is right out the window. The Liberals' PMS brain turns he scrutinized and voted no on your bloated, mistargeted program into he hates the people we said it helps. That's lazy, it's unresearched, and it's absolutely wrong. So the diagnosis here is PMS makes you think that Parliament is supposed to be a fan club of your Prime Minister and your party. It simply isn't, and if you think that, you have PMS. Okay, here we go. Pierre is just Canada's Trump. Ugh, I hate this one. This is the one that drives me the most crazy, the Maple MAGA stupid thing that they put in the comments all the time. This one is straight out of the Liberal anxiety factory. Well made, well maintained by the Liberals. Some foreign and left-leaning outlets repeat it over and over and over again, so the PMO repeats it back as well, and voila, PMS feedback loop, here we go. But anyone who actually reads the reporting also sees the line, despite comparisons to Trump, Poilievre supports immigration and multiculturalism as long as it's controlled properly. That's in the same international coverage the Liberals wave around. You can't pick the scary sentence out of it and hide the balancing sentence behind your back. That's not fair. That's actually just propaganda at that point. And PMS makes you treat vibes as data. You get a vibe from one line that Pierre thinks you want to control immigration, and you immediately call him a racist, even though you've ignored all the rest of the lines. So that means you've got PMS. Symptom number 7. We're on the way to the end here. Pierre is hostile to women and their rights. Now, again, his own household blows this up. Anna Poilievre is not only an immigrant woman, she is publicly very ambitious, publicly articulate, and publicly conservative. And he puts her on stage constantly because he loves and he respects her. That is not a man trying to shove women back into the 1950s. Michelle Ferrari, think about all of the women in the Conservative Party that have voices. You think Pierre, if he hated women, would allow that? In fact, it seems most liberal women don't have voices, and Mark Carney barks at women. Add to that, elevated Melissa Lantsman to deputy leader, openly gay Jewish from Toronto, as we said. He wants women front and center, challenging Carney's elite banker aesthetic. This is a deliberate inclusion strategy by Pierre, not the other way around. So the diagnosis here, PMS makes you ignore the women actually running his party in order to favor the message you believe, which is completely and utterly untrue again, and proven by just watching him. The stupidity is real. Now, symptom number 8 is a little bit of a weird one that's hidden a little bit, but we've seen it on TikTok and other videos that Pierre is anti-LGBTQ because some conservatives are that way. This is a sneaky one. Liberals point to individual conservative MPs who hold more traditional views and then pretend that that's Pierre Poilievre's position. But the record is clear. He voted in favor of C6 banning conversion therapy, and he has said many times, repeatedly, that he wants a party that wins in suburbs and cities, which you cannot even do while running 1993 social policy. He knows that. He is a brilliant man and understands that. Meanwhile, let's not, of course, forget that it was Trudeau who sneered at Lantsman in the House with the "you can stand with swastikas" remark. Do we remember this? Aimed at a Jewish woman. And never apologized. Never once. Because liberals don't do that. They always think that they're right and you're wrong, and that's it. If we're talking about real tolerance, maybe look in the red benches first, because I kind of think there might be some issues there. So in terms of diagnosis, PMS makes you project your caucus's gaffes onto your opponent, somehow making it their fault, something that they did. All right, we're going to do our last 2 symptoms of PMS here, and Pierre wants to shut the door to newcomers to fix housing. Well, he does want to reduce it. His actual plan is the grown-up version of immigration, which essentially just gets us back to how we did immigration before. Match intake with roofs over heads, speed up credentials, and prioritize workers who can build the homes. That's in black and white in his housing plan and in coverage comparing the party's platforms. So that is pro-immigration. pro housing, though, to go along with it, and pro steady growth rather than exponential growth. The people who wrecked immigration are actually the liberals who let it run wild. Even Trudeau had to admit that they overreached and had to scale targets down in 2024 and 2025. Poilievre is cleaning up their mess, or wants to clean up their mess in his policy, not ending immigration, but just simply getting it under control. PMS makes you confuse competence, though, with cruelty, and you twist the words into cruelty. So, if that's how you feel, you've got PMS. Last symptom. Here we go. Symptom number 10. Pierre is dangerous to democracy. I'm not sure where this one came from. There's literally no proof of it. This is the final terminal stage of PMS, I think. If you believe this one, you are long gone. When none of the smears work, not he's angry, not he hates women, not he's Trump, not he's Maple MAGA. They reach for democracy will die under Pierre Poilievre. But here's the reality. Poilievre has been an elected MP since 2004. He has worked inside Parliament to expose liberal scandals. He has used committee powers. He has sued for documents. He has voted for rights expanding bills like C6. That is what parliamentary Democrats do, folks. That's democratic. Can you show me what isn't democratic about that? Calling the Jewish gay deputy leader of the official opposition a Nazi sympathizer because she asked the prime minister a question you didn't like. Well, that actually happened. So is that democratic? Because that happened from the liberal side. And they act like they're the ones defending pluralism? Like, I don't think so. So here's a diagnosis again. PMS makes you believe you are democracy. This is why they call you a traitor in the comments if you're conservative, because they actually believe that. They believe if you don't believe in the leader, you don't follow the leader. Well, the leader is the country, but the leader is not the country. So the country's the country. So when you step back and you look at all 10 symptoms, a pattern jumps out. None of this is about Poilievre's real record. None of it whatsoever. It's about a Liberal Party, now under Mark Carney, that cannot emotionally process the idea that Canadians might pick someone else. They manipulated it into not happening. They did that in the last election by using Trump derangement syndrome as a weapon. So they have to convince themselves that the someone else must be the monstrous one. If you're not liberal, you're a monster. It makes no sense. It's ridiculous. But the evidence keeps getting in the way, doesn't it? His wife is a Latina. She's an immigrant. His deputy leader is a gay Jewish woman. He voted for barring and banning conversion therapy. He promised no abortion restrictions. Do we have to go on? Sure. He released a full housing plan with numbers, not photo ops, and not fake houses built behind him only to be taken away the next day. He wants immigration tied to housing, not immigration ended, tied to housing and healthcare, so the systems do not overboil. At some point, you're not describing Pierre Poilievre anymore. You're describing the Pierre Poilievre lying or living rent-free in liberal heads. And that's what happens. They have really, literally put Trump derangement syndrome on Pierre. That's Pierre Monomaniac Syndrome. Boy, oh boy, this country is in trouble. And the reality is we are seeing the epic failure of the Liberal government while they also can't stand to open their mind to Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives. But you don't end PMS by arguing with every tweet. We can't do that. You end it by doing what we just did in this show. Line up the obsessions and knock them all down with facts. Once voters see that the big, scary stories don't match the record, liberal emotional blackmail stops working. So here's the closer for all of you, because this is the big key. We have to think about this. Canadian Liberals have PMS. There is no question. Pierre Monomaniac Syndrome even leaked into other parties like the NDP and even some middle grounders. And the treatment is called facts. That's how you treat PMS. Pierre isn't perfect, but he's not the cartoon that they've conditioned themselves to hate. And if they have to lie about him this much to beat him, maybe he's not the problem, guys. Maybe you are. That's not good. You should probably start to think about this. Look at the facts. We just gave you 10. You're way off here, and you could be destroying the country as part of it. Thanks for watching Bakes on Things, the first sip for your Thursday. I hope you have a fantastic day today. I know this was a longer one, but go ahead and share it, like it, subscribe, and of course, get down in the comments below. Did we miss any PMS symptoms? Have you seen other PMS symptoms that you think are important for us to mention? Put them in the comments below. And of course, we'll see you today at the end of the day for the last word for your Thursday. We'll see you at 4 o'clock. Have a good one.